Hey, my name's Alina. Welcome to the Unraveled podcast.
My name's Nina. Welcome back and Happy New Year, everyone.
So today we're going to talk about goals, setting goals, importance of goals, all things goals, basically.
hmm
Um, I think it's very valuable to discuss this topic, especially in the new years. As that's really the time that everyone's kind of trying to plan for the year ahead, what things they want to do, what goals they may want to have, and also just understanding the importance of it. For me personally, having goals every year or really throughout the year in general kind of helps you feel like you're achieving something, but also you're
You have a plan.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Thank you. I've had a brain fart there.
And obviously with the new year, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and statistics show that, 30 days into that, most people are no longer keeping those resolutions. So we kind of want to go into what are some strategic things that we can do, tactics that really can help you keep those promises throughout the year. So it's not just a popular thing to do in January. Everyone
Right.
hits the gym in January, but then February, where are you? So yeah.
That's true. I know for me personally, I've always set goals every single year. Have I accomplished those goals every year? Not so much. But this year, this year was one of the years that I actually was able to achieve a lot of the goals that I had set
Mm,
by strategically planning on how to get to that goal.
yeah.
And one of the things that I did for me that worked really well was I really utilized my iPad. My iPad is like my life now.
hmm
I planned out my days, like from the time that I woke up, what was I doing? Like I'm going to the gym from 5 to 6, and then from 6 to what's after 6? 7. From 6 to 7, I'm, getting ready for work or,
Yeah.
just different things like that. That really helped align me and set me a plan to get to the goal. Like if my goal was to read one book a month, that's one of the goals I did
hmm
not complete this year. But again, if my goal was to do one book a month, then I'm setting that time aside in my daily schedule to make sure that I'm reading like, an hour or a chapter or whatever.
Yeah.
I think for me, again, I think that personally helped me a ton with accomplishing whatever, I was trying to do this year.
hmm Definitely. I think there's something to be said about writing down your goals.
Mm,
Because once you see that in front of you, then it really, for me at least, it helps. It makes a difference. I also like to try to put those goals up somewhere that I can see it on the regular. Because if I just have it either in my computer or in a book, but then out of sight, out of mind. So I try to put
so
it,
true.
in my office. I try to put it somewhere in my house to where I'm always being reminded of those goals. And what works well for me is we have certain days and certain times of the year that are the goal. So instead of thinking, well, in 2024, I want to do XYZ, we try to shorten that. So we say, hey, in January, this is what we're trying to do. In the first quarter, this is what we're trying to do. So kind of make a shorter goal post so you don't feel so exhausted thinking, January to December is a long
Totally
time.
agree.
We're going to get tired halfway through, but instead, okay, look, we made our month goal. We made our week goal, kind of shortening it to even what's our goal today? What's the week, the month, and kind of building it from there.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a really good idea because I know in the past for me, which has made it so hard to accomplish a lot of my goals, and this being like one of the very few years that I've been able to, is having so many goals in a year that just aren't practical for me, my schedule, my lifestyle, versus, kind of honing in on something that, something maybe smaller that's more achievable for me.
Yeah. It comes back to being realistic with goals.
Mhm.
I think our ego wants us to be like, well, I want to do this and this and this, but do you have the systems in place to actually be able to do those things? Do you have the staff? Do you have the resources to get that done? Otherwise, you're just going to set yourself up for failure and disappointment. And so what realistically are your goals, and are they achievable? If they're not, then maybe you shouldn't be setting that goal and instead trying to work on the team or the systems in order to get to that goal down the road. But yeah, it's definitely important.
And I'd like to add to that and say there's nothing wrong with, shooting for the stars and trying to, do the best that you can or maximize maximize your goal. But I think, and with that in mind, if you're realizing throughout the year that you're not getting to that goal, it's okay to make adjustments to that. Do what, make the necessary adjustments that you have to do to work within, what you've got, the time that you've got, what, things change all the time, that you've got to make new goals. Like at one point I was like, okay, I'm going to read a book every month. That did not happen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to read a book this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was able to do that part of it. But, and there's nothing wrong with adjusting your goals. End of the day, when you get to the end of the year, you can say, yes, I at least was able to accomplish that. And at the end of the day, anything that you accomplish is amazing. Kudos to you. Like, don't be so hard on yourself for not, checking off every single box for every goal that you put down. At the end of the day, if you accomplish one of those things, that's amazing. You're taking one step, to
the finish line.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. I'm lost for words. To the finish line. Perfect.
And, at the end of the day, what someone else's goals are not the same as your goals. And I think it's easy for everyone, especially within real estate. My goal is X amount of property sold or X amount of volume, but is that really what's right for you? Is that really what's going to benefit you, your business, your growth? And kind of not being afraid to fine tune and cater your goals, even if it's not popular, even if the majority aren't doing that. If it makes sense for you, if that's where you want to see growth and change, then that's where we should lean into. Less glamorous goals that are to show off to other people and more things that will actually benefit your life. Imagine that you're at the end of 2024. How will you feel? What do you want to be better in your life? And that's kind of how I'm trying to frame.
I love that.
Going into 2024.
That's awesome. I know for me this past year. Yeah, this past
2023?
year. 2023? Right. I know I'm having to think it through because we're just out into 2024. I'm still used to referencing back to 2023. Anyways, I know previously last year, my goal was to have X amount of transactions, I make X amount of money, whatever. But then my goal completely changed throughout the year when I realized, hey, I want to expand my property management company and grow it, get it more automated. And I had to kind of like put that goal on hold while I kind of focus on my other business. I've been able to accomplish the new goal in 90% of the new goal in the other business. But that goes back to kind of realigning with, what my circumstances have changed and what maybe I changed my mind about what I want to do.
And that's the perfect thing, change. And to not be afraid to pivot and to change. If you're mid-goal and you realize,
this ain't it.
No, then just make that change, make that pivot. Don't be afraid. What's the word? It's called, when someone is so deep into something, they don't want to back out because I can't think of the word, but when I think of a buyer that gets an inspection and they've already spent money on an appraisal and inspection and they really don't want the house anymore, but they feel like they've spent so much money and time that they're going to buy it anyway, even if it's not the best house for them. Sometimes you put time and energy into a goal, into a company, into a person that you feel like, I can't not do this. But then actually, when you have the shorter goalpost, it gives you time to reassess along the way. And I think that's important.
That's a very good point.
To just, hey, this is not working. We can backtrack. We can switch entirely. I know one of the goals we had for 2023 was starting this podcast. So thank you everyone for coming along the journey with us so far.
Absolutely.
Going into 2024, we are going to be having some guests on, so that will be exciting. Stay tuned for that. But what are some things that, in regards to your business or this podcast, that maybe you're hoping for in 2024?
So I know in one of the previous episodes last year, we talked about not separating business. What was it? Like
business and personal life?
No. Yeah. Having a business and personal life. Yeah. So one of the things I would like to do is, focus on having more personal time throughout the week, not just that, having more personal time for myself throughout the week and not necessarily just random times throughout the year. And just being able to enjoy watching TV or, painting or doing pottery or just whatever I really enjoy doing. And not so much just being focused on working all the time, that I don't get to really enjoy life as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah. And that, I'm so glad you said that, because that kind of it opens up another conversation. Sometimes from the outside, it's easy to look at people and judge them or look at them based off of their performance only, or based off of their sales or their money. But then it could be that when they are doing the most sales, they're in the worst place personally. Or sometimes someone takes a step back from work in order to bloom in their personal life. And that's actually a better, healthier spot for them. But from the outside, it doesn't seem that way. So we have to really,
That is so true.
We can't judge people. If someone's sales is down, but they're in the best place they've ever been in their life, shouldn't that be the most joyous thing?
Totally agree.
And it's kind of society doesn't train us to think that way about goals. Goals are just work and money, but what are your personal goals? Like what's going on at home, what's going on in your personal life, and we should lean more into that. Or I don't know, our generation should, I think.
No, I agree. I agree.
But, for 2024, there's a lot of different things. But for the podcast, I mentioned guests. So kind of getting that list together, scheduling people. If there's anyone or any topics you guys want to hear us talk about, feel free you can go to our YouTube channel and leave comments in there and ask
also
questions.
On social media as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Facebook or TikTok, Instagram, and just leave comments, and we'd be glad to answer those questions and bring that topic to the podcast and, different guests and things like that. But beyond that, I am probably going to get into doing some renovations.
Okay, that's exciting.
More the restoration side. I love old homes, and so being able to bring a home back from the brink of death. A lot of people might tear it down, but kind of restoring that, trying to give it life again. That's something I'm hoping for in 2024. And yeah, I'm just excited. 2023 was unexpected. Right. I think you would agree. The market was all over the place. Definitely not like any previous year. So do you have any thoughts or predictions for what 2024 is going to do?
Market-wise, personally, what are we talking about?
Well, I was going to say, let's do personally and then market. Let's both answer.
I actually don't know the answers to either one.
Well, isn't that real life?
Market-wise, like given that this year has just been so unpredictable, I don't even want to imagine what 2024 is going to look like. Yeah. I think we'll be a little more prepared, to say the least, but like it hasn't even crossed my mind at this point. Being, that 2023 is already over. I'm just going with the flow. And
I think if anyone tells you that they know what the future is going to be, they're probably lying to you. But, just... And
if they do, please send them my way, because I definitely
we can want to use their
crystal ball for sure.
But, just that's where you don't know the future. We don't know what the market's going to do. But if we can set ourselves up for success, and if you're a buyer or seller, connecting with a great real estate professional that is up to date with the industry, or even if you want to stay up to date, stay educated, because the interest rates could go up or down, prices could go up or down. But then as long as you're making that best choice for you, people say, now is the best time to buy a house. Now you shouldn't buy a house. It really depends on your circumstances.
Totally agree.
But yeah, we are just grateful that you guys have joined us on the journey of this podcast. And as we go into 2024, we're looking forward to connecting with you more. And I think that brings us to the end.
And bring you more good content in 2024.
Exactly.
So,
well, happy New Year to all of you. And we will be back next week, like usual, on Wednesday. You can find us on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy New Year.
Bye.